And we are live. My mama taught me to finish what I start. I could not get up off the kitchen table until it was done. And so that's what we're going to do today. Monday, we talked about the engineers and the algorithm. Wednesday, we took a look in the mirror and put accountability on the parents. And today, we're going to head upstream. We are out here blaming the phone. We're blaming the parents. But somebody's been sitting quietly on the sides, cutting budgets, shifting power to determine how screen time plays out in our children's hands, in their classrooms, and in our communities. These kids aren't just on devices, they're in complex and complicated systems that are designed by people in offices who haven't set foot in a real school in years. Or worse, maybe they never have. Some of these are, let me bring it together, Hassan. Because our kids are being tools, pawns, but there are folks who greenlit these one-to-one devices starting as early as kindergarten without first putting together a serious media and digital literacy plan. There are people who funded these tech rollouts but underfunded actually paying the teachers that manage them. There are policymakers who push digital transformation, but they're ignoring the, what would I call it? The skyrocketing rates of distraction, anxiety, need for IEPs, rise in spectrum disorders, regression of social capacity in the very kids that they claim to be serving. Now, I'm not anti-technology. You know that. Hey, look, ChatGPT wrote this script. So I ain't too much of a hater, but I am against using these devices as a cheap substitute for heroin for our kids. I'm against that. Is that going too far? Miss Cleo, did I take it too far? I'm sorry. Hold me back.
You're good. You're good.
My name is Hassan Thompson, educator, founder of the Educator's House. And if we don't talk about the role of regulation, if we don't talk about, if we don't follow the money, if we don't look at the education policies that are shaping the digital environments that our kids are growing up in, then we're not being honest about this. So I have been passing the blame, and I got smoke for our bureaucrats, for our regulators, because when a 9-year-old can log in and be exposed to an online predator. I got a future conference on that, so stay tuned. Join the community. Like, share, subscribe, as they say. When you have a situation where a 2-year-old is phantom scrolling in their sleep, when you have a toddler or a little kid who is afraid to use the toilet because they think the skibbity monster is going to pop out and eat them, we've got a problem. So maybe it's not parenting. Maybe it's not the technology. Maybe this is a policy failure. So this is part 3. If you haven't done so, you can go back and look at part 1 and 2. But really, we've been on a multi-part series. We started all the way back in brain chemistry and have slowly marched our way forward to where we are today. And I've got at least 2 more formal conferences ahead to really unpack this issue of screen time as it intersects child development. So today, I'm blaming bureaucrats. Welcome to Homeroom. Let's get into this. Miss Cleo, Vicky Burks is in the building. Wait a minute. Miss Cleo, where are you at in the world, ma'am?
Back in Michigan right now, actually.
Okay. I know you've been packing. I know you have this big move. I'm proud of you. I'm praying for you and your safety on this transition. So do you have a brief update? Welcome. Greetings.
Uh, Um, I have some real heavy family personal things that I came back to.
Mm,
So
I'll leave it
yeah,
there for sure.
yeah, I'll back channel you, but
Yeah.
I'm not really ready to publicly talk about it.
No. Especially not here.
Right.
Especially not on this application. So I fully respect that. Well, you know how it is in the morning show. So no pressure space. I'm glad that you're here. And if you can or will jump in, you're more than welcome. This is Homeroom, which means the invitation to the stage is open. Everybody gets an invite, but as I just mentioned to Miss Cleo, this is a no pressure space. And because it's a morning show, I know you're probably getting yourself ready for the day. So if you're in a listen only mode, I want to invite
our time
you.
together today. I'm going to orient you towards what's
easy, Tiger. Easy, Tiger. We are live. I'm going to send you the link to the channel in case you want to check us out over on YouTube, and I certainly would appreciate your support over there for all my live compatriots. But the YouTube is for listen only folks. So if you know you're listen only, you can scroll up to the top, the marquee, and you can enjoy the visual. I have some video clips, as you might have just heard, that are going to add some layers to this conversation. Some of those video clips are audio rich, so you know that's cool. But some of them are visually rich but audio poor, so I'll try to keep you updated in case you want to slide over there for my listen only crew. And for those of you who may be watching us on the live stream, I have, for the first time in my entire life, I have actually prepared the link to the audio app. So it is I don't know, some people know about it. It's called Clubhouse. It's a whole thing. It's an onboarding nightmare. It's part of why I moved us over here to YouTube. So if you do want to join the conversation with us live, then you can click on that link and check it out there. So I'll offer that. And what else can I say? Listen, guys, I think this clip might actually say it best. And then I will give greetings to those fellow stage mates that I have up here with me. Check this out.
There are a lot of bad things in Trump's big, beautiful bill, but I didn't see much attention on this. Republicans want to block all state legislatures from regulating AI for 10 years. Because proactive regulation on tech is so rare in Congress, that's where technology platforms are typically regulated, in the states. And these are really important matters, like deepfakes or using AI to deny medical claims. And there are a couple Republicans who might not let that fly in the Senate, but before we get to that, there are a couple other AI provisions that you need to know about. For instance, they want to spend $25 million to use AI to detect Medicare fraud, but in practice, that has resulted in people losing their care. Unsurprisingly, they also want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in bringing AI into the military. You can see right here, over $1 billion in various AI projects, anything from shipbuilding to autonomous drones. I'm sorry, you mean to tell me that working people are going to lose their Medicaid, but we need kamikaze attack drones? So already Josh Hawley and John Cornyn, two Republican senators, have expressed concerns. We might see this stripped out in the Senate version of this bill, but for the full story and more as it develops, head to the
Intercept.com. Thank you guys for making that clip. I'm sure I infringed on your copyrights. So please be gentle. I'm a small creator here. Yes, who's regulating? There's something about Donald Trump and his capacity to brand to brand a terrible idea, to put lipstick on a pig. The big, beautiful bill. It just rolls off the tongue. It just makes me want to approve it, So, but inside that big, beautiful bill, there's a lot of layers. He put a lot inside that bill, and one of them is a 10-year ban on regulating artificial intelligence. So there is a lot to say about what's going on in terms of regulation. So I have some concerns, and let me say greetings to Seneb and Vicky Burks into the live space, and whoever may be here on YouTube. So I guess it's on me to cook. So watch out now. And Miss Cleo, if I take it too far, hold me back, because I got smoke. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We're here and we're live now. On the other hand, and I'll have to be honest because I'm going to do this in very real time. Trump also has let me see if I can find it. He just sent out an executive order that got me excited. Let me go to my LinkedIn because I know that I sent it to someone there. He does have another executive order that deals with artificial intelligence in education. And I've been saying it. In fact, I wish I had my clip from my interview with Cedric Scott. He interviewed me as it related to, let me pull this up for this guy, as it related to AI in the classroom. And he asked me straight up and down, will AI replace teachers? And I told him in no uncertain terms, the simple answer is yes. It's not one of those old adages where Jasmine is who I sent it to. Jasmine Walker is a digital brand ambassador. She's a technologist, and she's really been helping me frame how I do this work here from a technical and marketing perspective. So shout out to Jasmine Walker. But I sent her this, and I'm going to send it to you guys in the chat. It is for reading purposes. Let me copy this, and I'll drop it here on you guys. He's got this this bill out. Let me give it to the YouTube as well. I appreciate you guys' patience. One day when I grow up, I'm going to have a producer help me with all of this stuff. But in the meantime, it's just you and me, so we're going to make it work. All right, this is from the whitehouse.gov, one of many of Donald Trump's executive orders, and it's entitled Advancing Artificial Intelligence Education for American Youth. And I have been telling my fellow educators and my technologists that this might be an opportunity for us, you know, for we people to break in to AI and education. It's my lane. I'm here at the house. So I'm gonna stay at the house and create a safe space for us to unpack these issues. But some of you guys are ready to break out of the classroom and get into maybe edtech, to get, you know, to use whatever tech you have and move into education. So I think there's an opportunity here to the tune of several millions of dollars. Maybe it's even, I don't know what the number is, but as you heard from the previous clip, there's plenty of money being poured into issues of AI from our federal government. Matter of fact, what's her name? I'm gonna put you guys on somebody else if I have her. I won't do that. Let me stay focused. I am being squirrely right now. Let me share with you this quote to let you know what the scope is. So this bill, Section 6, subsection A, is to provide resources for K-12 AI education. They're looking to establish public-private partnerships, so that could be you, with organizations, academic institutions, nonprofits, and air quotes, other organizations, that could be you, with expertise in AI and computer science education to collaboratively develop online resources focused on teaching K-12 students foundational AI literacy and critical thinking skills. I was just in a room last night with Stefan Youngblood and his crew over at the Black AI think tank. And there was a significant criticism about the fact that artificial intelligence and these algorithms are actually making our critical thinking skills more atrophied. I think there was a study that came out of MIT. They never dropped the link, but I'm sure we could Google it. I'm not going to do it now because we're in real time.
I have it. I can drop it.
Miss Cleo. The GOAT, right? She's my Scottie Pippen to Air Jordan over here. Pass me the sis and I'll slam it home. Thank you, sis. So yeah, there's criticism, there's data, and as oh, you guys haven't even heard that clip. You haven't even heard that clip yet. Let me see if, yeah, let's get into this one since we're talking about the government. Here is our own Senator, Mr. Hawley, interviewing Mark Zuckerberg about, this is just 1 year ago, but they've been harassing Mr. Zuckerberg for almost a decade now. But check this one out.
Mr. Zuckerberg, let me start with you. Did I hear you say in your opening statement that there's no link between mental health and social media use?
Senator, what I said is I think it's important to look at the science. I know people widely talk about this as if that is something that's already been proven. And I think that the bulk of the scientific evidence does not support that.
Well, really, let me just remind you of some of the science from your own company.
Get
Instagram studied the effect of your platform on teenagers.
Get him, Mr. Hawley. Y'all need to listen in.
Let me just read you some quotes from the Wall Street Journal's report on this. Company researchers found that Instagram is harmful for a sizable percentage of teenagers, most notably teenage girls. Here's a quote from your own study. Quote, "We make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls."
Did y'all hear that? They know that they're making body image issues worse for 33% of the teen girls on their platform. There was another guy, Jonathan Haidt, I think is his name. He's a big critic of what's happening with the algorithm on our youth. And in particular, he mentioned an uptick. I don't know what the time scale was, but there's a 140% uptick on teen suicide among girls of this very same demographic. So this is a real issue, and there's data out there. Let me let him land his plane, but I think you smell what I'm stepping in.
Here's another quote. Teens blamed Instagram, this is your study, for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression. This reaction was unprompted and consistent across all groups. That's your study.
That's his study. So the research is out there. The tech, based on what I heard from Monday, you're welcome to check out the replay. It's over on YouTube, easy to get to. The conclusion that I walked away when I tried to blame tech was big tech is in business. And this little device, this little 3-inch by 8-inch device that we have choice. We don't have to purchase the device. We have the option to set up safety controls, so big tech is doing what big tech does. They're in business selling a product. Can't blame them. This is the great American dream we all been talking about. So then I was like, fine. Let's blame the parents, right? There is plenty of evidence of ratchetness going on up in here, to the degree that there's another study that says 40% of today's 2-year-olds, parents self-identify their kids have, air quotes, their own device by 2. Kids ain't going around at 2 years old, walking up into your handy dandy Apple store talking about buy me an iPad. It's parents that are spending this money and handing these devices over and giving them a sense of entitlement that it is theirs, so that when the parent tries to pull it back, they want to fight their parents. I wish I had the clips queued up. I have this clip that I will not play today of the boy couldn't have been before. He said something, he said something like, take it. I dare you. And he bucked up, got his hands balled up in a fist and everything. I mean, wild work. So maybe we can blame the parents, right? And lay all the fire at their feet. But there was pushback because parents operate in a social context. We live in a more complex world, so it's just not that easy. I don't want to hear the pots and pan band with my kid banging on the pots with the silverware.
Hey, hold up. I'm dying laughing. I can't stop. Please, let's press pause, right? How old was the kid when he put his setup on his back?
Oh, my bro. He was maybe 3 or 4. If I get a chance, I will find the clip. He was bucking. I mean, seriously bucking. He was And that's just the beginning. Look, bro, I have a clip of this kid must have been maybe 3rd grade, maybe 4th grade, certainly not more than 8 years old. He was playing with his phone in the classroom. Teacher attempted to confiscate the classroom, the boy's phone, right? So he takes the phone. The teacher, lady teacher, she takes the phone, takes it over to her desk. Old boy throws a pencil at the teacher. Teacher gets upset. She's a human. I get that. She goes back over towards the boy, and you know what he did, right? He straight snatched that wig off her head, bro, all on film. I was dying. Okay. Yes. So I say all that to say, I want to blame the parents. It's easy to blame the parents, but I understand. I'm a parent myself. I understand what the parents are going through, right? You've got, so our society is very complex. I need a moment of silence. Take this device, and it will certainly turn their brainwaves into delta pattern hypersuggestivity, and they will be over there looking like zombies. And so you get your 30 minutes. But boy, there's a saying: "Show me where the incentives are, and I'll show you what the outcomes are." So it's sure enough nice to have that second parent. Single parent mama would sure love to have their kid quiet over there in a corner while she's learning her latest TikTok dance, right? So I get it. And there's also social pressure, right? There's social pressure from the kids because all their friends have phones. So now, even if you're a well-intended parent who's regulating the phone device, you're going to get social pressure, peer pressure from your own kid because they don't want to be left behind. They don't want to be the geek who doesn't know the latest lingo, about their aura and their skibbities and all of this kind of stuff, so they got to keep up with the Joneses. So there's a lot of pressure on parents, and I'll close with this about the parents. There's also pressure because we don't know the long-term implications. You say, oh, I'm just gonna give my kid the device, not realizing that these little bodies we grown bodies have a hard time with it. So these little bodies certainly have a hard time figuring out how to process all these neurotransmitters, these dopamines and the serotonin and the oxytocin that's flowing through these little prepubescent bodies, because they're being triggered by this device. A parent can't predict that a kid is going to have addictive tendencies behind this, we could even call it a toy. So it's complicated. A lot of well-intended parents get caught up without knowing what the consequences are. So I want to have compassion. Breathe, Hassan. I should not just blame the parents. So now I'm looking at regulators. I'm looking at the people who should be caring about us. Big government wants to give out checks. Why can't they regulate these devices? And so the big, beautiful bill, as we just heard, wants to put a 10-year ban on any form of regulation of these huge enterprise level AI companies. So I've got concerns about that. I've got some concerns about that, and I want to know what's going on. But it's not all bad. Let me just say, because there's some people in the room, shout out to MJ the Great. I'm glad that you're here. I'm gonna pass the mic once I get through this next point. We can cook it up. But to the community, Black to Glory, Thai Tutoring, welcome back, you guys. I see somebody whose name I can't read, but if you can speak in a language that we understand, you're welcome to come up onto the stage. Faiza, Leticia, always glad to have you. So you guys are welcome. It's an open stage. It's homeroom. It's a very organic place, and so you guys are welcome here. And so I'm going to look at the other side of regulation by playing this next clip, because some schools are taking this issue seriously, and some schools have decided to take the opposite extreme. So let's check out this clip, and we can sort of take it from there. Those of you who are in the listening lounge, if you want the more visual experience, you can slide up to the top. We're live streaming this very exact conversation on YouTube. So if you could be, if that is a better learning environment for you, then you're welcome to check us out over on the YouTube live stream. All right, check out this last one. This one you will be able to see on the screen, but I think you can get some good stuff just by listening as well. All right, let's make sure this is queued up. This is what's happening in Ohio. They're actually banning phones altogether, collecting all phones at the door. All right, I'm gonna let
Students at Dunbar High School in Dayton, Ohio, placed their phones into these envelopes labeled with their names and grades.
The mornings are just like TSA.
Most Dunbar students have gotten used to the new norm, but some still try to sneak in their cell in a hidden pocket, a bag of chips, a book with a phone-shaped cutout, but this one takes the takeout container.
It's a cute little thing, but a kid hid their phone under some takeout food.
The district leading the charge in a national battle in education to keep phones out of schools, and their mission is spreading like wildfire. Lawmakers in at least 10 states are already introducing or passing bills to ban the devices.
What is going on with the phones in the classroom before this ban went into effect?
Constant notifications. Constant notifications.
Ding, 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 all over the classroom. I have been there. I know Leticia deals with little kids, but she knows what I'm talking about. You know, it is constant notification. If it's not making noise, it's in their pocket vibrating, and there is a natural compulsion to check the phone. And then it's got all the bright noises, the freaking flashlight will flash off. And once one kid gets inspired, then all the kids want to get inspired and check out what's the latest notification. Let me let them cook. I'm sorry. Hold me back, Miss Cleo.
What does that do to learning?
It interrupts the whole process. It really does.
If now you have to address it, or you need to have an administrative moment in your classroom that could have all been avoided if it didn't even exist.
Before the bell rings, students...
All right, so some of us are trying to regulate at the local level. I'm talking about regulators here, right? Those who are in charge and make policies, like school regulators, government regulators, and even, let me say, state level, national level. Who's regulating this party? You know, you don't want to have a party where any and everybody can come in, because something's going to go down. So I've got some concerns about that. Okay. So I think I've laid a little bit of groundwork. I have a few more clips, but I think it's time to give greetings to the room. So shout out to everybody who's decided to join me up here on stage. If I'll pass you the mic, feel free to introduce yourself, your thoughts either to the title directly or to what has come up in the conversation so far. So I will pass it first to MJ the Great. Good morning, my good friend. Welcome to the stage. Any thoughts about what you've heard so far?
Brother, I've been in and out. You could pass me for now, but this subject is very interesting. I got twin girls, so yeah, and I'm snatching tablets left and right, brother.
Yes, sir.
I like them to be a little bit savvy. I don't want to deprive them of technology because I know that it's technology that's going to take them to where they need to be, and they need to be incredibly comfortable with it. At the same time, you can start seeing the addictive traits. You know what I'm saying? You start seeing the feelings and emotions when you take that shit the hell away. So yeah, I just want to listen, brother.
Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. Jump in whenever I open up the stage. You're welcome to jump back in. My man, Black to Glory. As a matter of fact, before I pass it to you, Black, Black to Glory is smarter than you guys think. Don't let the kind face fool you, okay? This guy is a mental ranger, okay? He's Delta Force on the IQ scale, and he is going to be joining me on Sunday for the live formal conference. So I've been leading up. We've been having this organic conversation. So you guys know where my position is. I'm here to pass the blame, and I got 3 targets. Pew, pew, pew. But Black to Glory swears he has an antidote to my problem, and I am going to serve as the little brother thorn in his side. So be prepared for some antagonism, my dear bro. But for now, in the homeroom, I wonder if anything has come up for you so far. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you're present to. Mic is yours. Black to Glory.
What I'm present to, or just the video?
Listen, it's homeroom, man. I'm here for whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just from the video so far, it's a common tactic to ban what you don't understand. So that rhyme. I think I'm gonna have to put that on a T-shirt.
You got bars.
So we ban what we don't understand,
Yeah.
and that's generally a thing as people are trying to keep up. Obviously, the Congress and lawmakers they always lag behind. It's rare that unless there's a tremendous amount of pressure from the people, they'll lag behind. So there's been enough pressure for enough time that they're doing this. This is their first tactic, but the issue is a little deeper than that. But I mean, it's a good first measure, and it could definitely have positive effects. So it's not like it's a bad idea necessarily, but there are multiple ways to approach the same issue.
I appreciate that, and how do I say, the lag ain't always bad. I'm not quite as clever as you, but I'll put it on the sleeve. I might not put it on a T-shirt, because the fact that the government lags, and I could get critical about how the bureaucracy works. But anyway, the lag I don't think is always bad, because it makes room for innovation. It makes room for experimentation. And that's part of the American culture, to go out, try something and see where you can get traction. So, I'm not against the lag, but as we heard in the clip, there's enough evidence to say that, for me, this even borders on a national security issue, because we are raising an entire generation. And keep in mind, COVID was like the, the Mickey Mouse huge hammer, like bam, whack-a-mole, bam, to our kids, having that entire gap where they were at home, air quotes, learning online. Yeah, right. I was there for it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this generation that's coming up they not different. They different. But let me keep the mic moving. So Leticia, welcome to the space. Please be warned, she's on her morning commute. So don't hate on my sis, but I have a lot of love for her, and I'm always glad when she can join us on stage. Leticia, glad to see you here. I'll pass the mic to you. What came up for you, sis?
Good morning. So crazy, I'm running late today. I'm not even in the car yet, but I was like, oh my gosh, let me join in the room, because I'm always joining in a little later after I drop my daughter off.
For sure.
So yeah, just going into work a little late on a Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend, but always support your room, Hassan, and thank you for all the knowledge that you shared. When it comes to the bureaucrats, I'm still kind of confused with the legislation and stuff, because in the past, seeing how Trump kind of used the TikTok thing as a way to prop himself, I don't think he really cares truly about the TikTok thing. It was just more as a leverage thing So, what have we discussed about with the bureaucrats? Like, what legislation have they found so far to really help the children with the with the phones and the TikTok and all of that stuff?
Well, actually, I don't even know that there is any regulation. I think all of that is super local, meaning maybe at the school level. I don't even think there's serious regulation coming out of the state level. What has been passed is what Trump has cleverly coined the big, beautiful bill. And it's got all kind of stuff in there about tax policy and Medicaid and spending on defense and all that sort of stuff. But one of the areas that I think is most relevant to what we're dealing with is this issue of artificial intelligence. And the big beautiful bill proposes a 10-year ban on regulation of artificial intelligence, with the underlying argument that if we as America, the nation, don't push fast forward, don't lean on the gas pedal as it relates to artificial intelligence, we will be subject to China's domination in the space. And truth be told, some say that China is way ahead. Some say that the United States is barely ahead, but nobody is saying that the United States is way ahead of China when it comes to this issue of artificial intelligence. Which would include what we see in the algorithm, what we see even in our search engines, and even when we try to use our phone, artificial intelligence is in there. So non-regulation, I believe, and I see you, Todd, I'm going to come right to you. Non-regulation, in my estimate, also will invariably lead to some unintended consequences of nefarious actors who also won't be regulated. I'll share one small example and I'll pass it over to Tide. There was an organization that used artificial intelligence to, it was a mental health platform. And so they created a bot that was supposed to help with mental health, and then realized that they could charge $300 an hour for this bot to be an online girlfriend. So they converted from doing something that would be healthy to then creating a companion might be a politically correct way to say it, if you know what I'm saying. She was serving as an online girlfriend. So you can use your imagination from there. And so they changed the mission of the company and chase after the dollar. So I do think that there's some real stuff. If I can pull up the clip, because I have it, I just don't have it queued up. I'll see if I can play that audio. But before I get back into it, I want to give greetings to my very own Tide Tutoring. Welcome back to the space, Tide. You're in this space, and so I'm very curious when it comes to regulation at the local level. Does your school have any serious policy in place? Is it up to each individual teacher? Is it at the district level, the state level, in terms of position that your area has when it comes to these devices and use with the kids? Any thoughts on that? I'd love to hear your voice.
Great question, and thank you for the space. So for us in Virginia, the executive order was signed by our Republican governor, Youngkin, and he basically said we're going to have cell phone free, not cell phone free schools, but a cell phone free education. So what the difference between the two is, in the school environment, kids can have their cell phones, but they have to have them in their backpack, or they have to be in their locker tucked away. They cannot be out. So it's not a cell phone free school, it's a cell phone free education. And that applies across the board for lunches. Kids cannot have their cell phones during lunches. They cannot have their cell phones during bell changes. They cannot have their cell phones in classes or really at any point in time. And so I remember years ago, this was probably about 8 or 9 years ago, there was a teacher who I worked with, and he no longer serves in education, or at least at our school anymore. And we were sitting in the library. This was my first year teaching. So I've been teaching for 12 years, getting ready to go into year 13. And as we were sitting in the library, he said to me that the biggest problem in education was cell phones. And at the time, I didn't really appreciate what he said so much. I thought he was being just a little bit dramatic, because at the time, again, I was a first year teacher. I was naive. I thought that cell phones could be pretty much managed, with good classroom management, good structure, good lessons, and all that kind of stuff. I was naive in that way. I thought that you could manage the cell phones, but I realized that he was 100% correct in what he was saying at the time, later down the line, because especially after COVID, but even before then, I think COVID, I don't think it was what caused a lot of these problems. I think it just shed light on a lot of these issues that we're seeing now. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, the cell phones, the addiction, the addictive behaviors, the emotional dysregulation, all of this stuff really came to a head. And, we teachers, we were like, this is too much. And I consider myself as someone who has great classroom management. I consider myself to be a really good teacher and all those things. So when I found it to be very difficult, I said, yeah, something's definitely not right. So with regards to the executive order that was signed this year, the administration, they previously had said that a cell phone policy like this across the board could not be done. And that was what they had argued, the administration. The reason why they said that is because they felt that they would not be able to enforce a policy like this. Now, of course, they absolutely could enforce a policy like that, but they just didn't want to. For administration, I think a lot of times it's more about taking the path of least resistance and doing what's politically expedient for them and is going to get them to be liked and not necessarily rock the boat too much. But when they were forced, when their hands were forced, and I think a lot of times schools do have to be forced to do things that they know is right, but they won't do it because of politics. When their hands were forced, they actually had to step up and do their job, which begs the question, do things have to get, how bad do things have to get? Do things have to get so bad before somebody actually does something? So for us this year, the results that we saw with the enforcement of this new cell phone policy, I would say were overwhelmingly positive. I do think that as the year went on, that a lot of teachers and maybe even administrators, I don't know from their perspective, I think that they did a pretty good job of being consistent, to be honest with you, because they were legally forced to. But the teachers, I think that some of the teachers towards the end of the year kind of got a little lackadaisical with the cell phone policy and stuff, just because it is, even though they were quote unquote banned, and the kids had to have them in their backpacks, it still was an ongoing battle. You still, like the gentleman mentioned before, kids trying to hide their phones in bags of chips and all that kind of stuff. That we still saw a lot of the same things, and it's a 24/7 battle with these cell phones in the school system. So we got very tired. I would say a lot of educators did, but we did our very best. And I think overall the results were very positive. We saw kids socializing, we saw kids learning, we saw things kind of resetting back to a natural balance, which was good to see.
Powerful share and a great testimony. I'm glad that you laid all that out. I will build upon what you said. First of all, I consider myself a pretty good classroom manager as well. And the truth is, no matter how good you are, no matter how many years you've got in the game, honestly, it only takes one significant negative interaction to disrupt the entire school year. And so I found the clip for my boy, MJ the Great. This one might not be as audio rich for the listening lounge. So if you want, you can check out the clip on the YouTube channel. But here is a clip that is entitled Student Assaults Teacher for Confiscating His Phone. Check this out.
We do not have phones on in class. Okay. Give me your phone. No. Sir, give me your phone.
All right, she just took the phone out of his hand. Okay, now she's heading back to her desk.
Oh, get it back after class.
The boy just threw something at the teacher. Now she reassured him he'd get it back after class. The boy threw something at the teacher. Class erupts, as you can tell, right? So this is now the classroom management issue. So over this one issue of confiscating the phone, which most schools have this as a policy, as she kind of described, and I don't know the ins and outs of her policy, but what happens when the kid takes it out of their bag? What happens when the kid has it in the bag, but right in the middle of class, that little thing vibrates and they just can't help it. They're compelled. They take that thing out, and then once it's out and in their face, the bright lights, The red dots in the upper corner says that they've got, 6 messages on Instagram, 14 from Snapchat, whatever. Once again, that second level of compulsion says, ooh, just use your thumb. Just push the button. They push that button, and then up comes the algorithm. And the algorithm is chosen from the several million options, which ones that are customized to that kid to get them to do what? Keep on strolling, stay engaged. And so now the teacher has an administrative moment. Am I going to stop my instruction, deal with this, and run the risk of, this little kid blowing it up, and now all the kids are interrupted? It's a whole thing. Or, and I've been in the situation, do I undermine my own authority and say, I'm going to call backup? Right? And get on the phone. If I even have a phone in my classroom. Listen, y'all, I got stories to tell. And admin says, yeah, we'll be right there. I've needed to use a bathroom, and admin talking about we'll send somebody over, and they never do, right? Because it's a busy place, this whole institution. I get it. But baby, so now I've undermined my own authority by trying to get backup, and maybe the backup doesn't come, and I can't manage it myself. Or I do what this teacher does.
No, he didn't.
What is your
problem? What's your problem? Where you little boy. Who you talking to?
This is a 7 to 9-year-old child who's pulling his teacher's hair, who's throwing things at her because she confiscated his phone because he was using it in the middle of class when he was not supposed to. This isn't just one child. Studies are showing that excessive screen time is rewiring the child's brain, making it harder for them to manage their emotions and control their impulses. Excessive screen time in early childhood is linked to reduced self-regulation skills and increased emotional outbursts when the child is at a school-going age. Studies have also found weaker connections in the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain that is responsible for impulse control. This isn't about banning screens, it's about helping children learn self-control so they do not become dependent on screens going forward. Comment ready if you're having a tough time cutting back on a toddler's screen time.
This shout out to the screen-free parent over on Instagram. So yeah, MJ the Great has hit it on the nail before I could even get there. It's not always the kid's fault. They're not always just being bad. And we've learned this, Ty, we know this in the classroom, that, these kids don't always have the words to articulate. They don't have the emotionally intelligent language to say that how they feel, right? So they act out in behavior. And it's our job to interpret, is the kid being bad, or is there a hidden issue? Is there another layer here that I need to be sensitive to? And in this case, they already struggle with self-regulation issues, and these devices just exacerbate that issue. So what you heard was the teacher and the child getting into a physical altercation. She ended up kind of guiding the child, who would refuse to let go of her hair, out of the classroom to try to get support from another adult. Kids are wrapped up. Now, question, how does that teacher show up to school the next day? What is the principal doing to that kid? Do they get, a slap on the wrist, a lollipop, and then sit back to class the next day? I mean, there's a full spectrum of ways that this thing plays out. And I have planned in a future conference the issue of violence in the schools. And so I want to talk about not just student to student violence, but student to teacher violence, teacher to student violence, including predation. And then we've also got administrator to teacher violence in terms of how they try to control. They steal your planning time. There's a lot. So, hey, if you haven't joined the community, please join the Educator's House, because there's a lot cooking up, and I have been preheating this oven, and I'm about to get on fire. So there are some significant consequences to what Tide Tutoring just laid out. So thank you for that share. Shout out to Anointed Steps. Arvania Gibbs is in the building. Damu, glad to see you guys here as well. We're talking about the issue of screen time and our kids' development. And the question is, can we blame regulators? Because this has gotten ridiculous. And so I'm going to play one more clip that talks about this issue of the need for regulation and perhaps what I would consider blind spots. And then I'll open up the stage in case something came up for anybody, for any of you here. So check this one out.
News. Snapchat just bought a social calendar app called Saturn. When I heard the word Saturn, it sounded really familiar to me, and I thought back. I remember an interview from about 5 months ago with the founder of Angel Q, Tim Estes. He told me something very interesting about Saturn, and I'm going to play that clip now.
There was another app about a year and a half ago, immediately called Saturn. It was meant to be a way for kids to sort of interact socially at school by knowing which classes they were in. And this company has been around for several years, and it was given out for free because they're just building up massive populations. It came out that you could sign up for this as anybody. You didn't have to be a kid. Okay. You literally could go in as a stranger and sign up to be in a certain high school, and you would see all of the schedules and all of the kids that were in that high school, so you'd know where they were and when they were there. And it had been wide open like that for years.
So Saturn was knowingly connecting young students with strangers in their local area for years. I wonder if Snapchat knew that little tidbit before they bought Saturn, or if they would have even cared, because Snapchat proactively connects children to predators anyways. So a bit more about this acquisition. Why would Snapchat want to buy this app? So Saturn's primary customers are teenagers. This app Saturn is used in approximately 80% of US high schools. Is it possible that through this acquisition, Snapchat is trying to get direct access to 80% of high schoolers in America? Are we cool that Snapchat now has access to private data from teenagers across the country? Do we trust Snapchat here? The first thing that schools should be doing over this weekend is to drop their contracts with Saturn, because I don't think that our schools should be okay with the #1 platform for fentanyl deaths and child grooming having direct access to our teenagers at school or anywhere else for that matter.
This is from Scrolling to Death over on Instagram. She's done a lot of deep dives on Snapchat and these other platforms and has demonstrated that Snapchat, and I'll get to it when I get to the issue of predators and online grooming, so stay with us for about 2 more weeks. But this is happening and people know about it. That's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. And where is the regulation? I appreciate the lag, my brother Black, but I am just concerned that we are not regulating when it comes to the best interest of one of our most vulnerable demographics, which are the kids. So let me do this because I think there may be something that's coming up for people. I see you, Damu, in the chat as well. Carla has joined us. I appreciate you joining. I know that you were going to be running late, and thanks for that heads up. But since you're here, perhaps I can pass the mic over to you to give greetings to the room and perhaps a response, and then I'll leave it to my other stage mates in case anything has come up for you guys as well. Carla, if you're available, mic is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the welcome. I'm just going to listen now, if it's okay, Hassan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, this is a heavy one, and it's a Friday, so get your coffee on. You put a little something brown in there. I ain't gonna be mad at you, sis. Go ahead, get yourself together. Shout out to everybody who's in the listening lounge. This is Homeroom, so the stage is open. If you want to come up and share, everybody has an invitation, and this is a very organic space. So whatever you may be present to, even if you want to push the conversation forward or in a different direction, we are here as a community. So with that said, Anointed Steps, welcome up to the space. I'm curious if you have any response to what you've heard so far or something else that you're present to. If you're available, ma'am, the mic is yours.
I'm just tuning in, so I am observing the layout for today.
Okay.
But as far as as my stance here, it is being able to have our regulation or our balance is very important, no matter what it is involving the youth. We have to be able to set the tone for the balance, the boundaries, and do it in a healthy manner so that it doesn't meet resistance and outbursts. Others call it crashing out, but this is a result of overexposure to certain things. And as a mother myself, I have to implement that within my own family dynamic structure and values, that we have to do things in a healthy manner, because overdoing it causes the effect of dopamine addiction. and it comes in many forms. So I'm going to lay that there until I process some more of what we got going on here.
Yeah, for sure. Just leave that hot ass potato right there on the floor, and somebody will have to pick it up. Thank you, dear. In case you don't know, Anointed Steps, you should definitely check out her bio. She's been in the fight for financial freedom for quite a while. She's got a lot of online platforms. She is an expert when it comes to blockchain technology, Web3, and really is empowering us to take not only our financial but our technological power back. And so I really appreciate her, and I appreciate you and all that you do, Anointed Steps. So with that said, listen, we are here being critical of what's going on in AI, and I've got a clip here that I personally think you would most benefit from looking at it on the channel. So if you want to see the visuals for this, scroll up to the top, click on that YouTube live stream, even if just for this one clip, because I think it's totally worth it. There are things that you will not see or experience on the audio version only. But when it comes to the issue of regulation, and I know I've been dealing with the algorithm, but really the algorithm at this point is pretty much dominated by AI. So I know that I might not be super clear about, what's AI got to do with Coco Melon, but I think you smell what I'm stepping in. I think you understand where I'm going with this. So this particular piece, while it may not be broadly applicable, I'm personally affected by this particular piece because of the skin that I'm in. So what you're going to see is the power of artificial intelligence as it relates to the deep fake and how that could be used in order to do things that are, simply put, not good. And so while Black to Glory wants to talk about the power of culture, perhaps this clip will show how people can misuse the power of culture combined with artificial intelligence. So check this clip out.
Replace us.
Step 1, don't be dumb like me and glue your eyeballs shut. Use the damn mirror, not your front cam. Step 2, pray. These tweezers do not got my back today. Hey, hold up. PERD. That's 1 cluster down, 39 to go. I'm basically a licensed esthetician now. Y'all see the vision? I look like a tired fairy, a sexy one. Y'all.
For the record, all of this person who's talking, she does not exist. So if you hear her voice and you think that's a person, you're wrong. And if you saw the visuals, let me just let this ratchetness continue.
Look at me. I did that. Don't ask me to do them again. I was fighting for my damn life, but I did that.
And you just have to imagine if AI has gotten this good this quick, how real things and people will look a year or two from now.
Y'all, this about to get messy, but it's gonna be worth it. Nah, this hit no different.
And what type of heinous or ridiculous things it'll have people doing in those videos. Again, with the average viewer not being able to tell real from AI.
Hey, I'm out here on 14, bruh. On my mama, it's already hell.
On his mama, this is all artificial intelligence. And when it goes out, I'm sorry, let me let them cook.
And while this isn't exclusive to Black people,
This is what you call a cheese pull.
All I wanted was a zero minimum
Sorry about that. You know,
manufacturer.
I don't have the free version, okay? I don't have a subscription. Let me let him continue. I'll offer this just for the visual. That was a Latina chick eating what looked like a mozzarella stick. The AI is AI-ing, y'all. You can see the cheese pulling. She dipped it in the sauce, all generated by a large language model, by these visual, audio, and video generators. Here we have a, I think it's fair to call her overweight. I don't know if she's technically obese. A woman sitting in her car sipping on some Arnold Palmer.
That is so good. The tartness of the lemonade with the sweetness of the tea.
I will say the videos that I've seen have a very exploitative feel to them. Like literally showing AI in the hood or in these ratchet situations, basically propagating negative images of Black people.
People, it's Ricky the Robber back for another video. Today we got some crazy shit. I'm outside this rich kid's party, and y'all already know we about to rob this little motherfucker. Let's go. All right, they outside. What's up, people? It's Ricky the Robber.
I'm gonna leave it there. I'll drop the link though, in case you can use this for your own purposes or to share with somebody. Hey, Leticia's in the building. To share this with somebody who might be concerned about what's going on. I'm gonna drop this YouTube link here. Great video from a creator called Jew Almighty. I just ran into him. But anyway, Damu over in the chat said, just like TV, things are rated. TV, MA, PG-13. Content on social media needs some type of rating. And I don't disagree with that. The challenge is, what was this, this tool? Oh, Roblox. Did you know that Roblox has a compliance statement that says it is made for 12 and over, but yet more than 50% of the people that use Roblox are under 12? And so even and I'm gonna go there. Even when it comes to pornography, you pull up your favorite porn site. All you have to do is click a button to certify that you're over 18. So the regulation component is not that good, you know. And a kid who knows how to use their thumb can figure out how to get around these kinds of problems. And so while I do appreciate it, and you're absolutely right, at least it would be something like you know, back in the day, maybe I'm just telling my age, Demu, you look like a young, strong fella. So you may not remember these days. But when organizations like Two Life Crew and NWA came out, there were on their CDs explicit lyric warnings. But that just served as like attraction, you know. It just made me want to lean in more. And so these kinds of ratings for kids just might have the opposite effect. I'm not sure, but I remember what it was like. And if I didn't have explicit lyrics on my CD, I probably wasn't listening to it back in those days. So I hear you. The room is getting bigger, so I want to give shout out to the folks. Mimi Taylor, wait a minute. I didn't even know you was up this early, girl. I'm glad that you are here. Great Friday morning to you as well. Michael Garrison is in the building. I appreciate you coming into the room. Cass C has come through again. So shout out to everybody who has joined us. This is Homeroom. We don't have that much time left, so I want to make sure that I get back to the voices of Black to Glory. Black, I've said a lot. I've used too many words, sir. I wonder if you could help me wrap this party up or put it into a little bun in whatever degree you want. So if you have something to share as we get ready to land this plane, I'd be happy to pass the mic to you, my friend.
Well, I guess since we're talking about regulation, you know, it's first on which level. You know, you have national, state level, then local. And, you know, are they even working in tandem? And then I said, because of the cultural lag, is it enough? Because they could be very heavy-handed. And do we need more than that? You know, obviously I would say yes. So it's regulation. It's, like I said, all the usual suspects that you've been dealing with for the last week. And, you know, we got to look at all of it. Like, how much is enough when it comes to regulation? Because we know how the government likes to do things. They don't have the best track record of actually, even if they do bring in the regulation, what is the enforcement arm? Because regulation without enforcement is meaningless.
That's true.
So that's, you know, a slap on the wrist for some fees. Now, if you start going into percentages, talk about, oh, every time you're violated, we're going to take a percentage of something. Oh, that's different. That hits a whole lot different than, oh, it hit $100,000. Who cares? They laugh at that. They spend that every day on advertising to the very children you're trying to protect with the regulation.
Facts.
So then what? After so many violations, does it escalate? So regulation, yeah, that's fine, but without an enforcement arm and a severe enough penalty, it doesn't mean anything.
Those are bars. And as I mentioned with the big, beautiful bill, he wants to pass this executive order to ban regulation for 10 years. Let me say, to ban states from regulating AI. So those who are, you know, into politics, this is a federalist move to put the federal hand over all of the states and prevent them from regulating artificial intelligence in their states. So now you're running into states' rights issues, as Black kind of alluded to. It gets quite complicated at that level. So with that being said, I'll pass it to Anointed Steps, and then Carla, if you have anything to share. Anointed, I know you just got here, but I wonder if anything came up for you as we get ready to land our plane. Any thoughts before we close the room?
I'm sorry, I was chopping up over here on the Wi-Fi. Could you repeat that? I heard my name. That's all I heard.
No, I'm just, we're landing the plane. So I wondered if you had any exit greetings or anything you could put into a nutshell for us before we close out. No pressure.
The things that I did want to touch on, the fact that you were talking about the roadblock and the age that they're supposed to be being involved with it, and the age that most are involved with that is a big thing because a lot of kids are into it, and a lot of educational programs are using that in coding because it is a coding atmosphere. So that is very mindful, although they're allowing students to get into Roblox coding as early as, I believe it's in between second and third grade. So that's just, that's around the 7, 8, 9-ish age range.
Yep.
So just to bridge that gap there, that we are having kids coding in this atmosphere, which, as well as they say that you should be 12 or older even being involved with it. And remember, we're talking about neurological effects of overexposure. And think about how from a coder perspective, of how much screen time we actually have in coding.
No, that's a great share. Next week's topic, today's topic on Sunday is who's to blame, but next week's topic is are all screens made equal? And so I do want to get into the issue of edtech and screen time in the classroom and whether or not that is a healthy thing. The gamification of education is something that I've advocated for a long time. But gamification has gone to a whole nother level here in the presence of the algorithm. So I've even got to be critical of myself. So I'm glad that you guys are here and part of the journey. And we have crossed over the halfway mark. And I'd love to have you continue to walk us across the finish line. Carla, thanks for coming. And I wonder if anything came up for you since you've been here that would be worthy of share, or if you have any announcements or things to share. I'll pass it to you as we get prepared to close things out. Mike is yours.
Thank you. As I was just listening, what grabbed me was, no pun intended, was the child pulling the teacher's hair. I popped over to YouTube and watched the child dragging the teacher across the room. And I thought, this has got to stop. The children, I can't blame the children. I can't blame the children. And I'm glad you're doing this and you're talking about who's to blame. And as I watch, I realize we as a society are to blame. I was really on the parents, and I still am. But as leaders, bureaucrats, educators, those who have influence and power, we're not setting them up for success. And it's sad when you see the violence that is occurring, when you see the attention span deficits of the children, when you see the addiction patterns on the children. We are responsible for loving and raising our children as a village, as a community, as a nation. And we're failing. And that's kind of sad. I'll land.
Powerful. Listen, guys, we're about to land this plane, but here's my clear call to action. I want you to join us on Sunday. The way this Sunday is structured is a little bit different. Here, I kind of set the tone. I share the clips. I've got little monologues. And so Homeroom is really kind of the setup and the organic space for us to cook these ideas up. But when we get together on Sunday, it's really community driven. So when you come in, I'm going to invite some of you up to give your first takes. I would love to have voices like Zarvania, who's a trusted expert in the space. Cass has come onto the stage and shared a lot of high quality stuff. Vicky Burks, I haven't seen you in weeks, maybe months at this point. So I understand you prefer the listen only space, but and let me see if I can share something that you share publicly. She is an educator, okay, a fitness queen, basketball coach. She's an amazing person, and I know she's got some experience in what's going on here as well. So that's what'll happen. First takes, and then my big bro, Black to Glory, and myself, we're going to do a sort of podcast style. So I'll be interviewing him. We'll kind of be going back and forth as it relates to what's going on in the space and what his thoughts are about all of this. He's been very present for this journey, at least this week's journey. And so we're glad to have him kind of unpack, because he's got some research I think that you all would be very interested in. And then we're going to go more moderated podcast style. So everybody will get a chance to weigh in and really talk about who's to blame as we close out this segment and move over to the issue of edtech. Zarvania, I see you up here, so I'd love to at least pass you the mic, allow you to give greetings or any thoughts as we prepare to land. Go ahead, Zarvania. The mic is yours if you want it.
Good morning, everybody. I just have something just kind of quick to say. As far as who's to blame, I think with any addictions, there's just a lot of enablers. And so whoever began it first, honestly, that's not even the problem anymore. It's about who continues to enable that person with that addiction. And so whenever I think of kids and like whether it's regulated in Texas, it was just now signed into law that kids in like K-12, especially K schools, were not going to be allowed to have their devices. But of course, regulation of or enforcement of that one is going to be a problem. But whenever I still consider who's to blame is who's continue to enable that problem. And they might not see it. Sometimes they see it as a simple solution. So parents, absolutely, we have a hand in it. Sometimes teachers that are very lax in their enforcement of the rules absolutely have a hand in it. Administrators that don't support those teachers absolutely have a hand in it whenever there aren't like any things in place, like no drop boxes, no bags to put the devices in. Well, then there's not a solution that everybody can use. And so whenever I think about who's to blame, honestly, it's a little bit of everybody. And kids, only whenever they become a bit more conscious of their actions, because getting away from addiction is extremely hard for the person who's involved in it, but they still have some responsibility, you know. So once they become a little bit older, you know, once they see that, you know what, this is taking me away from my studies or taking me away from my friend time, they also have to have some action involved in it. And it's not just the adults that have to tell them no. It's not, it's, you know, to tell them no. So that's kind of where I am. So yeah, I land now.
I appreciate it. She's like the Oprah of accountability here. You get accountability. You get accountability. You get accountability. So I appreciate that. And I think you're absolutely right. Carla kind of alluded to it as well. We're all the adults here. And so when it comes to protecting our children, we've all got a part to play. And so I think you guys are absolutely right. Okay, look, guys, we've done it. Riza, Mimi, and others, we start this room 1 hour ago, whatever time zone you're in, 1 hour and 7 minutes ago to be exact. And we do it for about an hour because it's a morning show. We know that you guys got things to do, people on their commute getting ready to work. So we want to give you guys some grounding as you get your day started with something important and not just some mindless entertainment. So hopefully we've added some value to your space. I am on a growth phase. So if you can, if you want to support the mission and the call to action, I would ask that you just share. It's important at this phase because we have a strong but small but strong community that you guys would take action and actually share this with others. And so I would appreciate it. Not everybody wants to get onto this app. And so if you could share the YouTube channel and let them know what we're doing, they can have that very same experience, but get it vicariously from us. And so what I want to do is to use the power of our time together live, but then make it asynchronously more explosive. So those who are watching the replay is where I think the real growth and the virality of our capacity to reach people with these important topics is going to be the plan. So if you could help me with that mission, I would certainly appreciate it. You know how they say, like, share, and subscribe. With that being said, guys, we're going to close it down for now, but we will see you on Sunday live. I know, listen, I'm a solopreneur. I don't have it all together, but I'm going to do my best, okay, to get that stuff up and have the link so you can share. So just pray for me. Sister Carla, pray for me, okay, because I'm on my way. But I'm on this mission and I'm committed, and I hope that you can see my passion and help me convert this passion into an actual viable business. Okay, so with that said, we're going to close things down. We're shutting it down in 5. There's 5 people that I'm sure you can connect with today to share something positive, something kind, and you never know how that's going to impact their lives. We're shutting it down in 4. We do this for you, for the good of the group, for those who've never heard of this before. And so anything that you could do to share, I would appreciate it. We're going to shut it down in 3. This is not about me, but this is a we thing. The whole premise of Educator's House is to be community-centered. So to all my stage mates who came up, who are still here, and those who've come and gone, I thank you for coming up onto the stage and sharing your voice, because that's the essential ingredient that makes Educator's House work. We're closing this down in 2. I am here to serve. So as your humble host, if you've got any feedback for me, positive or negative, critical or edifying, please send it in my back channel, because I'm pre-revenue, so I thrive on your feedback and your words of encouragement. And finally, we're closing it down in 1. You're the one. You who I'm talking to right now, you're the most important ingredient. Please stay connected to this community, but also engage in some healthy self-care. You know, take care of yourself and give unto others of your overflow. And with that said, I'm out, guys. Peace, peace, peace. To my YouTube crew, let me close this down and open this up and say thank you guys as well. Leticia, you might be the only one who's here right now, but I give you thanks and greetings. I appreciate you and your constant presence and support. And for everyone else, you heard it all, so I would appreciate you. If you've made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe. Bring others into what we're doing here, because I have not quite broken through that glass ceiling of 12 to 30 views is where my average is right now. The algorithm is what I'm doing is not sexy, and so the algorithm is having a hard time finding people who want to watch. So if you could share it with your teacher bestie, your colleague, your parent friend, anyone who might be interested in these very important issues, I would certainly appreciate it as I attempt to grow the community. So I won't leave it too long, but I will say thank you for your support.